Thank you. I'm very happy to talk to you today and have the opportunity to be on stage today to tell you about our customer success story about the German Bundestag. They gave me the tough time slot after Sören, but I will try to keep it just as interesting and as engaging as that first very interesting topic we had. What I want to talk to you about today is how we build trust. We have political communication that we want people to trust in, and that is a truthful source of information. How do we achieve that? I want to talk to you about transparency and engagement, about inclusion, reliability, and give you a short outlook. And I'm going to talk about AI, but only in the last part. But first, some quick facts and figures about the Bundestag online platform. We've been working with the Bundestag for over 30 years now, and continuously growing, evolving, transforming the digital platform. And for the past over 10 years, we've been using CoreMedia as a tool to do so. And changed a lot in the way we orchestrate content, we deliver content, how the Bundestag communicates with its audience. And just to give you some sort of rough idea, we have more than 250,000 documents being served through CMS. Current documents, not old ones. We have 18 million visitors and counting year to date, and that's a over 30% increase year over year compared to 2024, which of course it was election year, but those 35% come from another 40% increase we had from 23 to 24. So what we see is that in times of political shift, of political change, people turn to the website of the Bundestag to have that truthful source of information. And that's what we want to provide. But how do we do that? Because we're dealing with complexity through the legislative process. Show of hands, who here is eligible to vote in Germany? Okay, about half. Who here could explain how the legislative process works in the German parliament? I figured it's okay. don't be alarmed. But that's our job. We need to provide clarity and cut through that complexity to still deliver the information that is relevant to all the people. The people that just raised their hand definitely are affected by what's happening in the Bundestag, but you don't need necessarily to understand the legal process of how a bill is passed into law. So how can we guide users through these complex workings of parliamentarism? We try to combine the information as best as possible to give users a good guidance on how they can find and consume this information. The editorial team of the Bundestag does a great job of providing articles for each of the topic that is debated or voted upon in Parliament. They provide a frame article and outline what the topic is and what it's about. And then we link everything that belongs to that type of topic. Speeches and all the documents and all the voting results. And we guide them along the legislative process. So you can see that we show the information for each of the steps that this proposal goes through before being passed into law. And you can always jump back and look at the historical things like what was the first version, which person said what about that, and easily find all the information through the process. And then once there's a final version and it's being voted upon, we have detailed voting results. They just actually are the most sought after information in the whole website is what is the voting in the end. And what you can see here is that we do not only show the result of the vote, but you can really drill down and have a deeper analysis of how the vote is, how the vote was per age group, per gender group. So you can really drill down and understand how, who voted for what. And that drives accountability. And then can also be combined again with all the speeches. So if you have a topic, we have, of course, live broadcasts. That's also unfortunately why the customer of the Bundestag could not be here today. Today is a parliamentary session, so they're busy while I get to do the fun stuff. We have live broadcasts and video on demand for everything that's happening in the Bundestag, and we have bookmarks for every speech to linked to every topic. So for every topic, you can jump and say, okay, what did Mr. Klingbeil say? And then go back to the votes. And after what he said, how did he vote? Is that in alignment? And that drives transparency and accountability and is really important. And that also goes back historically. So if you look at a profile of a member of parliament, you not only see their biography, but all the speeches they gave and their whole voting history. So you can always go back in time and check how did they vote on certain topics. Has their opinion changed? If so, you can look at the speech and maybe get an idea why. So that's how we try to give users the maximum transparency that we can as easily as possible, and just it doesn't matter how you enter, we always tie the knots together and try to navigate users through that complex information. That's also what we did with the election this year. As you know, we had a general election in February. It actually should have been in September. So you imagine we were very excited when we heard our time schedule was cut by more than 6 months. What do we do at the Bundestag's website for the election? Because the election results per se are not published at the Bundestag's website, but we publish who is being elected into parliament. So once the official election result is in, we know from each voting district which person got elected and now that they have a seat in the parliament. And to be able to deliver that information through the night of the election, we have to prepare all the profiles, but not of those people being elected, but all those who might be elected with a certain probability. And those of you who followed along the election, you know, the FDP and Sarah Wagenknecht almost made it and didn't make it. And so we had to prepare over 1,000 profiles to have them all ready in CoreMedia. And then we had a little team working through the night. And as soon as the first official results were in, and then updated all through the night. So when people got up in the morning, the day after the election, visit the Bundestag website, they could check out the new voting seating distribution and check out all the profiles. And then again, have more analysis. How many females are in the Bundestag? It's only 32%. Yeah, so we try to be as up-to-date as possible, again, providing transparent information. So I've shown you how we try to deliver information, but how can people engage? What channels do they have to take part in what the parliament does? Well, every one of you who resides in Germany has a voting district. And if you are wealthy enough to live in Hamburg Mitte, then you know who to call. So we have a voting search, a district search where you can check with an easy map integration, and you can find who are your Direktmandate, Wahlkreismandate oder Landeslistenvertreter. There are certain things I do not want to translate into English because it's just German language. Yeah, and then you can contact these people. That's one option. The other option we have is we have an online petitioning system, which is a separate application that runs within the Bundestag's infrastructure, and that allows people to submit petitions. There's a petition committee in the Bundestag who meets regularly and then debates upon these petitions and then decides what to do with them, if they want to pass them into some sort of law or just ignore them, happens as well. They debate about it. And you can submit those petitions online, and they can also be voted on online. Not that bad, good of a resolution, but you can just go on the website and vote if you think a petition is good. It's a non-binding vote, it's mere to show public interest. And we also have a forum where people can discuss on that petitions, which is of course with content moderation, but that's also a good opportunity then to get kind of what is the public opinion about this petition and this topic that is being discussed within that petition. So we try to communicate user first and not legislative process first. So we try to think about what the information the users want and need and how we then can guide them through and have maximum transparency to get them into action. And that drives impact, as we saw. that type of information, especially in times where you don't know which information source to trust and who is first. You can always go to the Bundestag and get the information directly from the source. How do we make sure that everyone can participate? That's also a big topic. I guess everyone in this room is able to understand and read what we publish on the Bundestag's website, but we make sure that everyone can participate, no matter what kind of limitation they have. And one important aspect is, of course, accessibility. That's always been very dear to our heart at Babiel, to have maximum accessibility. We are externally audited for the website, and we relaunched the app in 2024, which we're also proud of, because accessible apps are not that common, but that's also fully accessible, externally audited. You can check that out if you want, and that's important. One important aspect of accessibility is sign language. So all the plenary meetings and also selected events besides the plenary meetings are being translated into German sign language, which is, of course, important for people with hearing disabilities. And we have easy-to-read language, which is not important for people with many different limitations on how they can absorb information, make cognitive impairments, low literacy skills, and also non-German speaking people can get information on what the Bundestag does, why it's important, what we are dealing with, and how the parliament works. Another important thing, and after Søren's speech, we probably should convert that to APIs that feed AI data. We have age-specific information portals. The Kids and Youth portal, so it's a different, Kuppelgucker is the children's portal, Mitmischen is the youth portal, where we have age-specific communication for the voters of the future. So we can have support educational purposes and drive political engagement and inform people so they can make good voting decisions in the future. The third aspect that I want to talk about is reliability, because I've shown you how important transparency is, but what use is a trustworthy source of information if it's not available to you at any time? And with information as critical as the one that we provide with the Bundestag website, security, availability, and performance are non-negotiable. Always have to be there, no matter what happens around the world. And well, that's been a bit of a ride through the past years. Scalability is one big thing that we try to manage as best as possible, because we have a lot of traffic peaks, some anticipated, some non-anticipated. For example, in the June of 2024, we had the Ukrainian President Zelensky gave a speech in the Bundestag, which was broadcast live through a website that draw a bit of attention of legitimate and illegitimate traffic, as you might expect. But there's also short-term traffic peaks. For example, if everyone expects a certain chancellor to get elected, then they don't. That also causes traffic to spark quite sharply. And we can handle up to 20 times the traffic peaks without any need of manual scaling, and just have the platform be available. And that's really important, and we're really proud of that. But as I just said, we're not only dealing with legitimate traffic, but also illegitimate traffic. Of course, being in the political landscape, there's certain people who rather not have certain information spread, and they try to take down the website. So we have our own sovereign DDoS mitigation service in our Babiel sovereign cloud. We are actually one of the 22, I think, BSE qualified DDoS mitigation service providers in Germany. So we are able to withstand these kind of attacks. Actually, in 2024, we had double-digit attacks, and none of which caused any availability issues with the Bundestag's websites. So thank you to the team on making that happen. But it's not just DDoS mitigation. You also need a very good secure architecture. And our architecture is built on, the entire system is aligned to the ISO 27001, based on BSE Grundschutz. But it's not just the infrastructure, it's also the application development. We have an audited and certified secure software development lifecycle, so we make sure that every software we ship in the whole infrastructure is also up to the highest standards of security. And the last thing I want to talk about is predictability. Where's Toby? He talked about the release, the software release lifecycle of CoreMedia today in the morning at the partner event. For us, it's really important that we have a stable and dependable product policy by CoreMedia, because that's what we need to have with the customer like the Bundestag to plan ahead for long-term success. So the newly LTS release branch since CoreMedia 12 has been a huge help to us. Keep up the good work and enable us to do long-term planning for long-term success. Okay, short outlook. What's our plans for the future for the Bundestag? And of course, we're thinking about AI. How can we leverage AI so it benefits the users as well as the editors? And for us, we have to tread wisely because, as I said, trust is so important for us. And as soon as something happens via AI that counteracts that trust, it's unacceptable for us. So we have to really weigh in on where we use AI wisely, that it helps us, but it does not sabotage any of our goals we have with the website. What we're currently working on is that we have real-time translations for the plenary broadcasts. We also currently have real-time subtitles, but we want to not only have subtitles, but real-time translations of audio voice. We're currently looking at that as well as text-to-speech as an accessibility improvement, but also how can the editors, we can make their lives easier, because it's intelligent customer experience, but it's manual labor intelligence currently, and that can be elevated. So especially protocols, everything that's said in the Bundestag is being protocoled. So having that job assisted would be a lot of help. But also have AI-based research for the editorial team. As I said, they provide articles on every topic. They have a research platform where they can research their own documents to enable them to work easier and better. It's also something that we're POCing at the moment, but that's something looking into the future. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think when I say we, I mean the editorial team at the Bundestag. I want to give a big thank you for letting me share the information and for the hard work they do. Then Babiel and CoreMedia, we can be really proud of what we do, because with Bundestag.de, we have a transparent and trustworthy digital window into democracy. I think in times like these, it's something that's very valuable. And we all can be very proud of that. And with that, I want to say thank you for listening. If you have any more questions, either visit Bundestag.de or talk to me later, and wish you all a great connect and enjoy the next talks. Thank you.